Hey everybody, welcome to How the Sausage is Made with Chris Cosentino, where I talk with chefs, restaurateurs, athletes, philanthropists, and pretty much anybody that inspires me. We look below the surface, behind the curtain, and dig deep into how these people got to where they are today. Wins, losses, and everything in between. All right, everybody. I am really excited to get to talk to my good friend Peter Cho. We met in New York. I don't know if you remember. It was when you had just opened, the Breslin. That's right.
Yeah, the Breslin.
I remember sitting, I came in I think it was like the second or third night. One night I sat upstairs.
You were out of,
and we were watching down. And then the next time I came in, we were in one of those little booths, like the closey booths, right?
Yep.
And it was pretty incredible because you opened that restaurant with April, and you were running the kitchen, and it was full gas from day one.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's
Fergus
right.
Fergus Henderson. So Fergus Henderson would come out, and the first 2 or 3 maybe were at the Spotted Pig. And he would come out and he would do half the menu, and we would do half the menu. Yeah, we called it Fergus Stock, and it was like maybe one night only, maybe a couple nights. I don't remember.
I forgot.
Actually. But yeah, we've done those a couple times at the Spotted Pig. And then Ken and April were like, okay, well, first night of service to the public will be Fergus Stock. And it was like Fergus Stock 2 nights, and then we did a brunch. It was like the craziest way to open a restaurant like you could ever imagine.
I forgot it was that because I was sitting with Trevor that night.
It was bonkers.
Nutso. I totally
We didn't
spaced
sleep.
out.
We didn't sleep for like 5 days. It was like insane.
I mean, but what a way to
Fergus Stock.
Like, what a way to open, right, dude? Like, that is magic. You can't replace that moment. Like, that's kind of, as rough as that was, I'm sure that was like one of the most special things ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more unique way to open a restaurant than that.
I can't imagine the conversation as you're trying to get this brand new restaurant open, and the Fergus, as I like to call them, Fergusisms are coming out. Like, you want them to kind of like, become friendly and get along together in the pan. And you're just like, huh?
Oh
what are you talking about?
I love it. I love it so much. And he brought out 2 of his chefs, Lee Tiernan.
Yep.
And forget.
Chris?
I forget. He
was
was
Chris?
a chef. No, it wasn't Chris. I'm slipping on the name. But yeah, they came out.
Lee? Well, it's Lee Tiernan.
Yeah.
And then there was
Tiernan.
I think I might know who it is. I'll remember mid
He was the
podcast and scream out the name.
Yeah, I know, totally. Me too. Yeah, it was awesome. We like learned so many of his signature dishes at that time. It was so cool to like, the blood cake and eggs, that's like such a classic dish from St. John that everybody talks about. Tony named it his death row meal. Actually, when we opened Hanok, we did a version of the blood cake and egg because there's a sundae, right? That's the Korean blood sausage. So we did that with like rice and glass noodles and all the pig parts. And we did that with like a duck fat egg. And that was one of our dishes when we first opened Hanok as an homage to Fergus. But yeah, that was a wild time, man. It's so funny because like I wish I could remember more of that time, but it was such a crazy, hectic opening.
It's a blur.
And it's such a blur. Yeah. I do love it when people come and remind me of things that I've forgotten. Like this, like Fergus, we opened the Breslin with 2 nights, 3 raucous nights of Fergus,
Fernet galore.
Fernet everywhere in the morning for breakfast.
Oh man, it calms the nerves.
God.
It calms the nerves. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Before the Breslin, in the beginning.
Oh God.
Where did you start what was your first thought about cooking? Like, did you want to be a cook when you were young? Was it being surrounded by family, meal cooking, or was it just something you fell into?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of chefs have that background where they like kind of grew up in a family that like went out to nice dinners and like know about restaurants and stuff. But we didn't. I grew up I was born in Korea. Our family moved to Springfield, Oregon. So I grew up in Eugene, Springfield. And yeah, we didn't, our family didn't have much money and we didn't like go out to nice meals and stuff like that. But there was always cooking at home. So like my mom was always like cooking every meal. This is like the classic like Asian kid upbringing is like, she'll make a big pile of dumpling farce and we'll make mandu and put them all in the freezer and then we'll get to eat that for the rest of the week. So I grew up like kind of really liking sort of just making things. And then there's like the Lane County Fair and our church that we went to, this is a Korean church, would do this food booth. And so one of the church members had a restaurant in town. And so as part of like their fundraising for the year, they would like set up this booth at the Lane County Fair and we would serve like egg rolls and like teriyaki chicken and like wok fried noodles and fried rice and stuff. And every year we would like be a part of the whole like congregation, the whole community would gather for this thing at the Lane County Fair. And it was so fun because like we would make food. It was like, all the families would be there. All the kids would be there. We'd like run around like the fair. But I was really drawn to like the actual food cooking. And so they would let me like fry rice on this big giant wok and fry the noodles and stuff. And that was like kind of really my earliest like cooking thing. And that was probably, I don't know, I was like not even 12, 13. I was a kid, but they would just like let me sit in front of this wok.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's like pretty far back. I don't know that I've even like told that story anywhere, but that's as early as I can remember. But yeah, and then through high school, I actually my first real job was McDonald's. I did like a summer stint at a McDonald's after my freshman year of high school, and then I did a funny like summer stint at a Kenny Rogers Roasters.
Whoa. Kenny Rogers,
dude.
like the singer, had a restaurant. Okay. I did not know this, so this is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It was like rotisserie chicken and all the sides and fixins, and
amazing.
You like work this line with like all the steam tables, and then you would like take this chicken and like cut it with scissors and like, put up a half chicken, full chicken, break it all up. But yeah, that was like my first 2 summer jobs were food related. Yeah, that was a funny time. But then I did like a thing at a movie theater, and then I started playing tennis, and so I started working at a tennis shop, stringing rackets and selling rackets and stuff. But then I didn't really get back into cooking until New York. So
how did you get to New York?
Yeah, so I went to U of O. I was a fine arts major. I studied like graphic design and 3D animation, and I was really into animation. And that's when like all the 3D movies were coming out. Pixar was like putting out Toy Story and all those things, and I got really into that. And there was a small like animation program at U of O because there was a gaming studio that was based there, and so a lot of like the 3D animators, using 3D Studio Max and these like really early software, 3D software, getting fed into this like and 3D gaming studio. But I was a terrible student. I never did my work on time. And yeah, I just couldn't get it together to like actually pursue that for work. And so
perfect person to go to a kitchen who needs to get their mise en place done in time for service.
Yeah, I mean, I think like daily timelines are better than like, weekly, monthly timelines for me. But yeah, so after college, my brother's 2 years older. He got into the Teach for America program. And that's where recent graduates get placed in. Once accepted, they get placed in like where there's need for teachers. And so he actually got placed, of the 3 places that he chose, he got placed in the South Bronx. And so he moved to New York after he finished college and got placed in the South Bronx. He got a little like flat in a brownstone in Harlem and had a few roommates and stuff. And so when I finished college, he was like, dude, come out here. You can like live with me rent free, get your shit together. I was like kind of dicking around after my senior year, like not really doing much. And so, yeah, I moved out there to Harlem, and I moved into this. So we shared there was a brownstone, it's 4 stories, and every floor had sort of a group of people sharing that floor. And it was really cool because we had Sunday dinners. And so about 9 folks, there was me, my brother, and another a friend of ours, we shared one floor. There was like 3 women. On the next floor, there was a couple down below. And we would get together, take turns cooking.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that's really kind of where I got interested in cooking. Like, you know, like really interested in cooking.
What were you doing in
So
New York at that time? Were you working? Were you just kind of
yeah,
dicking
yeah.
around?
No, dicking around for sure. No, for sure. I mean, I like what I studied wasn't something that I was pursuing at that time. So I moved to New York, and just to like get a job, I got a job at Whole Foods. The first Whole Foods market in New York City was in Chelsea. And yeah, that was a fun job because what ended up happening was they had a delivery, like a food delivery program there. And so people would go in, do their shopping, they would buy their cases of, bottled water, and then they would like throw it on the shelf, and we would grab it and then deliver it to them. So, and if in New York, there's just not a lot of people drive or even know how to drive. So, my having a license, they were like, "Oh, you can drive. Like, you
Oh
want
my
to do this
God.
job where we'll throw you in a refrigerated van. It's like a 15 passenger, like one of those like Ford Econoline giant vans with a fridge on it, and we'll chuck all this like food in there, and then you go around the city like dropping it off." So that was a hilarious job, first job to have in New York City, because I got to just drive from 99th to Battery Park, like in a van, couple of walkie-talkies between the store and the other van, listening to music, getting some tips. We would like fold out these like maps, like, because there's no GPS. So like we
Oh
had
my
these like
God.
fold out maps. It was a total nightmare to like drive in New York City, but I got to like know the city like the back of my hand. It was awesome. Like I did that for like a year and a half, 2 years almost. But yeah, that was a fun first job in New York, just really like getting to know the city. Because I feel like, in New York,
Driving in New York is crazy. One.
it's so insane.
But
It's
I
so
mean,
insane.
like to be driving people's stuff everywhere, having to stop, deliver, find their homes or
Yeah.
apartments and all that. That had to have
Yeah.
been an absolute pain in the butt.
Oh yeah. They'd be like, oh yeah, 5A. And you're like, this is 6 floors. Your 5-floor walk up is actually, it's like A, 1A, 2A. So like by the time you get to 5, you're like carrying these giant like
Did they
cases of
tip you, I
water.
hope?
Yeah, we got some tips. That's why it was like super fun. By the end of the night, we'd have some cash in our pocket. We'd go to the bar across the street.
I remember when that Whole Foods, I remember seeing that Whole Foods, like when it first
Yeah.
opened, like it replaced Dean and DeLuca, right? Like Dean and DeLuca was the big thing.
Yes.
And then
yes,
Whole
yes.
Foods started coming in and that became the new Dean and DeLuca.
But also, what was great was I just got interested in food because, like, in between deliveries and coming back to the store, you'd like go like, oh, what's in the veggie section? What's in the fruit section? You'd like make friends with all the people in the different departments. They'd tell you like what fish is good and like, oh, what I like learned about food in a funny way from the behind the scenes of a grocery store.
But that's cool because it's like, it's a whole different experience. Like,
Yeah.
you're literally, so you've got Kenny Rogers chicken, you've got Mickey D's. So there's your systems, right? You got systems at Mickey D's. I'm sure Kenny Rogers had systems and country music blaring in the background. And then you go to Whole Foods where it's a really unique environment, right? Like, it's an organic market. Everything they had so many rules when they first opened about what was allowed to be sold in their stores.
Totally.
And it really set a tone for you. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was really cool and then that just kind of fed into these dinners that we would share in the brownstone. Is like every week we would go, like just cooking for myself or my brother or like our roommate on that floor is one thing. But as soon as you start cooking for like 6 or more people, I feel like it becomes a thing. You're like, you actually have to menu prep and you actually have to like think about how much stuff you have to get to like make this thing. And so it got me like definitely started getting me interested in like, okay, like cooking for more people, like doing meal prep and writing a menu and stuff like that. It was fun. Lot of like watching Food Network TV shows. Grew up watching a lot of that stuff. And so
that's crazy.
Like Jamie Oliver had a show and those were always great because it was like, the kind of stand and stir, like you can just learn. You can learn so much from watching those things. And of course, I was finding a lot of videos online from the UK, like UK shows too. So I think there was a series that Hugh Friendly Wedding Stall put
Oh,
out. There
his
was a
series were great.
oh my God, they were so good. There's one where him and his butcher take down a whole pig, and that's how
Yeah.
I learned how to like break down a pig for when we started doing whole animal or
What was
whole,
it? It was his home. Like it was that little cottage he bought.
yeah, there was like
And
a
then
cottage. Yeah, yeah.
it was the River Cottage, the show. And he
Yes.
would go and do all of those. He would do the butchery, he would do the foraging, he would go fishing.
Yeah.
And just the way he cooked was pretty magical.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. Like a lot of those shows were kind of different than like a lot of TV shows nowadays where I feel like, yeah, it is a little bit more competition-y and like kind of,
Yeah.
but a lot of those stand-in search shows were really inspiring and like I learned so much and super, super fun. But it was limited, I feel like, there was a lot more of those shows. And as
Yeah.
Jamie Oliver was like really getting popular, there was more of that style of show that I was like finding because there wasn't YouTube. So like you would have to like maybe YouTube was just starting, but like you would
Pre-VPN, so you couldn't bootleg stuff from the UK.
yeah, no, I was like, but I was pirating stuff, illegally downloading kind of video, food video of all things. Yeah.
That's so you're doing that, and like when did you what was the first professional kitchen you stepped into
Yeah.
when you were in New York?
Okay, so I get interested in cooking. I'm living in Harlem, and I learned that there are restaurants of many levels and of professional levels, and you can just go and get a job. And somebody gave me Kitchen Confidential. So inspired by a lot of the stories, less of the sort of, the rock star chef life. I was more drawn to the stories of like, immigrants, the sort of the backbone of the New York kitchens, or like, the communities from, or people from like Oaxaca and Puebla that he talked about that really run restaurants. And
Yeah.
I really like connected to that more, where I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this. I come from a different background than people that are going after like a chef job. I can just like do this thing. And so inspired by that, I was actually about to enroll at the FCI. So I was going to go to culinary school. But then a friend, and actually a lot of people suggested that I should just try and get a job somewhere. And so I actually went to Leal and tried to get a job there. And I was like, look, I have no experience. Like, I'll do whatever. Like, put me I'll wash dishes or whatever. And they were like, no, we don't have a job for you. and so I was like, and then I had gone to the FCI and I was like, met with some people and was, got the first like sort of walkthrough. And then I went home and thought about it. And I talked to, my brother and family about it. And I was like, I might go to culinary school. And so it was like the next week that I was like on my way to FCI. I was in the West Village for some reason. And I was like walking over to the Christopher Street, like train station. And I walked by the Spotted Pig and somebody was like, well, like maybe just getting your foot in the door, just go and see if you can, work at a small restaurant. And so when I walked by, I saw this like cute little restaurant, like lots of like foliage in the front and like the pig hanging from the corner. And I was like, this is a small restaurant. This looks like, somewhere I could get my foot in the door. Come to find out, it was like the hottest thing in New York at that time. Like I walked in like maybe, I don't know, 9 months after their opening. So it was like,
God.
it was before like the second floor renovation. And yeah, it was bonkers. So I happened to walk in at like 1. They're like, why don't you come back when April is here at 3? And I went in and we just had a very brief chat. She's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I was about to go to culinary school, but I thought maybe I could just like get a job. Like I'll do whatever. And she was like, okay, well, why don't you come back tomorrow? Like make me something. So this is like, you're doing a stage. You're like,
yeah,
and doing a tasting for your chef. But like, I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I'd never worked in a professional kitchen. I worked at McDonald's and Kenny Rogers. So I went to Whole Foods, talked to my friend in the fish department. And they were like, oh yeah, just take this like whole bronzino and shove it with fennel and lemon and, like roast it in a pan with a little bit of butter and like good olive oil. And I was like, okay. And so like I brought a few things and I'm like, next day I come in, I'm like, here I am. I don't know. I brought some stuff. She's like, okay, go cook it. And then she left the kitchen. And the funny thing is the sous chef at the time, Carolyn Spence, I think they were having a hard time like staffing and keeping people around. And so she was like, hey, do it like this. So she like used his pan. I'm like, okay. Put it in here like this. I'm like, okay. She's like, do this. And then she like basically walked me through this like tasting I was doing for April. I'm like, I have like fucking no idea what I'm doing. So I make this like whole bronzino stuffed with fennel and lemon and it's, good olive oil. And she's like, put it up with a little salad. And April's like, okay, cool. I have this like big pile of onions to cut. Like, go cut that. And I like cut it without cutting my finger off. And she was like, okay, cool. You can start tomorrow. And yeah, and that's how it started. I fell like fucking ass backwards in a Spotted Pig of all places for my
And
first restaurant job.
I mean, when the Spotted Pig opened, it was an explosion. I mean, I can tell you, I ate there hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Hundreds of times, right? Like, and I think it's amazing how the space grew, how the food continued to evolve, and it was very true to what April wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you were there for how long? How long were you there for?
Well, I stayed through, I don't know, it was 3.5 years before the Breslin opened. And so, I worked my way up and
Did you help with the John Dory opening, or did you just?
No, I didn't do the first John Dory opening. So when I started, I just went in as a commis and I put in the fry station. And at the time, the signature dish was like the burger with the Roquefort, and then the shoestring fries. Yeah, and the shoestring fries, that's a motherfucker. So you're taking like thin fries out of water, going straight into the fryer, and then it would just be a billowing bomb of steam. And so that corner of the restaurant was like impossibly hot. And like the timing is like really specific about when you put in the rosemary, when you put in the sliced garlic. And so I kind of got put in that corner in the steam bath of the shoestring fry section for a little while. And then they closed for a second floor renovation. And so I actually ended up, she was like, oh, we're closing. I don't know what's going to happen. So like I went back to Whole Foods and like ran around the city again for a little while. And then she calls me. She's like, hey, we're opening again. There's a spot. So I go back and we basically reopen the pig. And then I just worked my way up. Yeah, the John Dory opened. That was like over by Meatpacking. But they had gotten in a chef to open that. And a few people left, and which gave me opportunity to like step up. And at that point, I got to I worked. By then, I had worked all the stations and worked through all the seasons and the menu changes and got the job as like a sous chef. And I ran like brunches Saturday, Sunday, and then would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. So that was also like a weird time working, because it was like such an opposite schedule. Like because it would be open until 2 a.m. So most of the night shifts are not out of there until 3 a.m. And then the 2 days that I'm at a brunch, I'm there at like 7 a.m. That like got me trained to have children. That's sort of like where you're sleep deprived, your internal clock's all jacked up. That got me trained for a restaurant opening, and then that got me trained for having children.
So you went from there then to open the Breslin, which was a totally different project in that you had breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Oh my God.
And you had the big hall in the middle, right?
With the restaurant had 3 services, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then the lobby had a different menu that was serviced from the downstairs kitchen that serviced 24-hour room service. And we were open 364 a year. 3 services. There's like 3 giant like event spaces. Yeah, it was a monster, man. It was a monster, but like I guess I didn't really know any better, and I hadn't had any experience outside of like working for April at the Spotted Pig at that time. And so I just didn't know any better. I think that served me the best in my sort of progression working for her, is that like I was like, oh yeah, this seems natural. I've heard of restaurants being crazy places to work, but in hindsight, it was like so much crazier than a lot. I feel we did a lot. It was crazy.
That was a big property too, right? And there were so many things going on and a lot of moving parts. And being attached to a hotel changes the game of a restaurant
Oh my God,
instantaneously.
yeah.
You have to have all of these amenities. You have to have 24-hour room service for certain levels of requirements for the hotel. And
Yeah.
it just makes
Yeah,
for
and
a
you have
lot of,
VIPs for the hotels that are specific about what they want to eat, and
of
yeah.
course.
I mean, all that stuff is. I mean, that's easy. Managing that many people was the hardest, and thankfully we had a great crew, and they all, it was awesome. Like we all like came up together, and then we all like kind of grew into these management positions along the way, and so it was awesome to like have those people in the trenches like as line cooks that are now like your peers as like co-chefs of the restaurants as her sort of grew. So yeah, I think that's what was the most special about my time there, is just all of us came up together, and then thinking back on like how cool it was that we were all like line cooks together. I think that's really special.
So how did you get from New York to Portland?
So, well, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer in 2012. So that was late 13. Sorry, late 13. And by then so that was like almost 10 years. I had been working for April for, yeah, almost 9.5 years. So after the Breslin, I kind of worked my way up to like a culinary operations position. And so there was lots of other projects that they were working on. We opened the Salvation Taco, the Pod Hotel that was off of Lexington, kind of on the Upper East Side. And then they were starting to work on their projects on the West Coast. So there, yeah, there was a lot going on, but also like I had been in New York like 13 years maybe at that time. And I feel like after 10 years, I hear a lot about this. After 10 years, you kind of just go, oh my God, has been a lot. And I feel like I've lived 2 lifetimes in my 13 years there. So when my mom was diagnosed, I was like, oh shoot. Well, one, we just came back to just be with her for her first round of treatment. And when son and my wife and I went back, we were like, it's probably a good time for us to like settle down a little bit, take care of mom. At that time, my brother had a pretty demanding, like travel heavy job, working for University of Portland for a basketball program. My sister was still in New York. She was still teaching and finishing off her school year. But yeah, we just like said, you know what, this is it. I think Portland is the spot. We'll be around for that first year of treatment and just be there to care for her. And yeah, so we came to visit. We did the first 3 rounds of chemo, realized that like it's going to be a lot. So when we went back to New York, packed up our stuff and just moved. That was 2014, early 14.
I remember
Yeah.
us all being at the first feast together with Fergus.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Dude.
And that's when there was the grilled cheese truck. Remember the grilled cheese van that would drive around giving out with the grilled
Oh
cheese
my
phones?
God. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I remember that's where we then crossed paths again, right?
Yeah.
So you had come out and you were doing a dinner. And of course, one of the tasting events, we were all doing those at that point. And you had mentioned to me that you were planning on coming back.
Yeah.
You were coming back to Portland and that was like the start. I mean, I was really stoked for you to be there. I mean, you told me why, which is hard, but
Yeah.
how did moving to Portland and then the opening of Hanok start? Like, when did that happen from once you got there?
Well, so we took that first year off. I mean, I had worked
You worked hard.
those last 5 years or 4 years at the Breslin it's just a mountain of work. I think I talk about this a lot. It's like you just when you're in a place where it's a sheer volume of work that you do the time and there's no time to do that amount of work. Yeah, that's where I got really burnt out. But so I really just took that first year off and lived with my parents and went with her for her treatment every 3 weeks. Early on, it was like every week. And Sun, thankfully had a job that she could do remotely. She was like doing a lot of like design work for books. She was working with a book designer at a publishing house. And she was doing a lot of stuff at home, which was super helpful. But then after a year, I was like, I should probably do something. And so I got together with a buddy and we did a series of pop-ups called Stray Dogs. We would make our own sausages and like got this like custom little mini hot dog bun made with a bakery. And we would serve like fun ice cream, a couple of sides, and we would like pop up at restaurants around town. A lot of restaurants here in Portland are closed like Sundays and Mondays, just sleepy nights. And so they would be like, all right, come in, we'll serve all the booze, you serve the food. And that ended up being a little thing for a while. And we were kind of doing pop-ups all over town. And and then Sun found the space.
As a chef, I'm always asked the same question. What's your secret to making a restaurant quality dish at home? It's not just the ingredients, it's how you bring them to life. And it starts with the right tools. Heston's ProBond professional clad cookware collection will give you control, consistency, and confidence. It's cookware that makes you want to cook more. Check it out at HestonCulinary.com and use my promo code COOKWITHCHRIS for 10% off your first order.
So, that was a year into living in Portland. We had moved into a little house that we rented in North Portland, but it was like kind of an old rickety house. And I was out doing a pop-up and she was home pregnant by herself, kind of a windy day, shutters banging against the walls. And she was like, fuck this. I can't live like this. And so she goes and looks on Craigslist and finds this space, and how it was posted on Craigslist was like open floor plan, big garage door and it's like in a commercial lot. So she was like, this is it. This is like a creative space. I can do art here. You can maybe do something. She was like, maybe you can do your stupid pop-up and maybe we can like make something of this. And so yeah, so we like came and checked it out. It's like, the story of like being on the street, like not knowing where the front door is, back of a parking lot, this little hidden place. And I think at that time too, like we were doing these pop-ups, but also like I had sort of had the weight of the pressure of like running, a Michelin-starred restaurant in New York City, running a big thing for April, like a lot of pressure I put on myself. And so I didn't want a ton of pressure with the next thing that I do. And I think this space served me well for that, because it's like a hideout. Like nobody would know that we were back here. And so, yeah, we started doing some pop-ups here. On what was Stray Dogs, we turned into Stray Birds. And so we would do that's the first time I started like making my Korean fried chicken. That was like a recipe that I worked on for a long time. We did our gochujang tamarind glaze and black bean glaze. And we did like this series of Stray Birds here in the space before we were able to like raise money and do the full restaurant build out. So that was like the first sort of thing that I did Korean food wise.
Did you find it difficult to transition, or was it an easy transition for you to cook Korean food again after having worked with April for so long, cooking that, classic French, English inspired food that you were?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was the biggest thing. I never really cooked Korean food professionally. So I was sort of relearning the cuisine. And I didn't grow up with a ton of Korean food either. So like, Son was really my son, and my mom were really kind of, so she grew up in LA and was exposed to a lot of Korean food, a lot of like Korean American cuisine too. And my mom is more traditional in her palate. And so I would try and just make sure that Son liked it and my mom liked it. My dad hates everything that I do. And then I would just find myself in the middle, just trying to make sure that like it's also satisfying, me, in that we're sourcing ingredients locally, with the seasons, and applying some amount of technique that I had learned working for April. And so, yeah, like it was less a transition, but like figuring out what my food is going to be.
So what was it like opening the doors to Hanok for the first time? And literally, for people who don't know and people who don't, you were literally opening people up to your backyard and
Yeah.
your living room.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because you guys were living in the other half.
Right. So what's cool about this space is we actually like walled off, actually. So we walled off this area here.
Yeah.
Right there.
Where the karaoke machine lives.
Just beyond that wall is our little like 500 square foot lofted apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. But yeah, when we first opened, okay, so we took over the space in May of 15, and then we did a demo, and then we opened February. So we're about 10 years, going to celebrate 10 years this coming February, which is also a wild thing. But yeah, when we first opened, I think we just put out that we are doing a set menu. That was like the first like real set menu that I had written. So I was really doing what ended up being what Hanok is now, which is like my style of Korean food, and in that it's like a touch of the techniques and kind of more Western influence stuff. But it was wild because we had no money. We ran out of money so fast because I didn't like seek an investor. We didn't like do anything properly. It's funny because I think I learned how to open restaurants. We did 3 of them. And I opened Hanok as if I had never done it before, which is, I think, it was a good way for me. I just kind of really stripped it down, kept it as simple as possible. We didn't do a big hire. My sister worked for me for that first opening period. We had some family friends that would come and help out. I had like one kid who was a recent culinary school grad that was like kind of running around with us when we were doing the pop-ups. And yeah, there was like maybe 5 people, and we did like 25 covers, and it was like the hardest 25 covers I've done in my life. Because, I was like figuring it out. Like it wasn't food that I was like trained to do and like could repeat all the time. It was like I was like really cooking off the cuff and really discovering what my style of food was going to be. So yeah, the opening period was awesome. Also, like, everybody kind of walks in here with like a sense of like wonderment, and like they come in, they're like, what the hell is this behind this like wall, this like hidden oasis? Like there's trees in the courtyard and like kids' toys all over the place. And so I feel like what I realized was, for 9-10 years I worked for April, I was like, food is everything. That's like that's like the only thing. Really, that's what I was responsible for. But, dining in a restaurant is so much more about the experience and how they come in the space and how the tables look and what the plates are, what the environment is. And like, that's the first time I really, really discovered the other job in hospitality, which is more than just the food.
I can't even count how many times I've eaten in there with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Many unsanctioned feast after parties too.
Those two. All those as well. Like
going into the late nights
karaoke.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I came in. I vividly remember this, and maybe you will. But we're sitting there, and I'm sitting at the counter, right? And we're talking, and then Son comes running out chasing a naked baby with a towel. Do you remember that?
God, oh my God.
We were talking.
Hilarious.
We were talking,
just
and all of a sudden,
ass running,
naked child running through the dining room, and Son with a towel going, "Oh my God, come back here!" and just chasing it. And I looked at you, and I go, "This place is magic." Like, you really, it was such a special place, right?
Oh my God,
like, you created
so
this,
funny.
like this. You walk in and there's like little push car. And I mean, shit, I used to ride around on your kids' toys and goof around, remember? And play with them in the grass.
Oh my God, so funny.
And I loved that. I mean, it brought levity to the seriousness of the food that you were doing. And it really gave people it has its own sense of time and place. And it really made people feel great. Like, we'd throw on the karaoke machine, or you'd be, they would put a beer down in front of me and you'd snap the top open with a towel, and it was just like, we had fun.
Yeah.
You were having fun, and it exuded it as hard as it was, and I could see when you were talking to me about how hard it was, but like the love that was going on and the fun level that was had there was just so amazing. And
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of it. I kept, countless times, like I'd be up on a trip, whether
So
it was
funny.
opening Jackrabbit, when I was living there for a
Yeah.
month, I would come all the time. I was just constantly coming back and we would shoot the shit. We would have fun. It's a special place.
Yeah. And the counter is great too. I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you just are in the middle of it. And because it's kind of up on this like stage, like the second level here, yeah, it brings people in, in a really, I love, like, I wish it was more of a chef's counter where I can like actually like engage with guests a little bit more. It's a bar now because that's how we got to make our money. But
Yeah.
those times actually when you would come, we didn't have much of a bar and it was more of a chef's counter. So yeah, I would be like folding dumplings and like had steamers all set around me. And so that was a really fun time. Yeah.
So cool. So many good memories in that.
Bare ass Frankie running around. So
Yeah,
funny.
for sure. It's
God.
nice. It was really, you created this dream for yourself and you two made this happen. And
Yeah.
I think that was what was really so special about it, right? Like from the outside looking in, we were just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And you
You know,
made us, made everybody feel like family. That's what it was.
I will say that's very kind. And I know there wasn't a ton of intentionality behind it other than we were like, with two kids. I mean, when we first opened, Elliot was very little and he didn't sleep well. I don't know. I mean, as a parent, like,
Yeah.
your kid's not sleeping well, you're sleep deprived, you're a tortured person. And what would happen is like we barely put him to sleep and then I would like prep into the night. So we put him to bed and it would be like, 9 o'clock, so late for a kid that young. And I would like prep from 9 to like 3 or 4 in the morning and then wake up when he wakes up, but then like go run around and get stuff and then like prep and then work all night. I don't know. I like escaped New York to like, to escape that kind of schedule. And then I went right back into it, but we were only open 2 nights when we first opened. And it seemed like enough. It was like, man, yeah, it was with the kid, it was especially tough. And I think I just gave up on a lot of stuff that, like the kid running around naked. It's like, what the hell can you do? Like, what am I going to do? Lock the doors? Like, no, like,
It was so amazing.
it's just, we just let a lot of stuff happen naturally that seemingly crazy. But, you get a huge kick at it.
I mean, we all just laughed and son was just, swaddled up baby,
Like
walking back in. It was just so cute. Like, but I think,
So
the food
funny.
was delicious. It was of time and place and it still is. And I think that's what's really special is you have been able to continue to be in this space that started small and is continuing to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I still feel, even as we come up on our 10-year, I know that there's still a lot to do, a lot that we can still accomplish. I don't think there's anything that I like really strive for professionally anymore. It's just like making sure that like our family is well fed and the guests that come here have a unique experience. I think I look at operating restaurants a little differently now. Especially with how hard things have been. So it's really just making every guest experience count and then making sure that we're taking care of ourselves too. I mean, it's really hard. I have a hard time taking care of myself, especially because like we just have so many other responsibilities now. Yeah, it's a wild time.
Yeah. I mean, so not only do you have Hanok, you then went and opened another restaurant.
Well, yeah, we opened Toki downtown. That was short-lived. That was about 3.5 years, 4 years. We took over a lease. And then when the lease came up, we decided we didn't want to stay in the space. But around that same time, this was now 2 years ago, but we acquired the space that used to be Renata. I was literally drawn to the fire. Working in New York, there's not a lot of places that you can cook live fire. And And when I actually, the first time I really saw an amazing like wood-fired hearth was when April did her book tour and we went to Camino. And that
Oh,
thing is
wow.
massive. And
Yeah.
Russ there was like cooking everything out of that giant hearth. So yeah, I was inspired by wood-fired cooking since then and really wasn't able to do much of it until we moved here. Actually, at Hanok, we would like randomly build like cinder block hearths. There was one time leading up to a feast that we like built one that's like 9 feet wide. I bought like $1,000 worth of cinder blocks and just like built this massive thing. We called it Hearthbrooks. Actually, I had two names. We called it Hearthbrooks, and then we started calling it Hearth the Stewart. But anyway, so we just built this like massive hearth and like built like stuff to hang off of. But yeah, anyways, but this space came up and there's a wood-fired hearth there and a pizza oven there. And so, yeah, I was like kind of drawn moth to a flame, as they say. But they had a big back kitchen that had like a meat locker. And so I was inspired to do whole animal. And so right now we're doing like whole animal beef, pork, not too much lamb right now. But yeah, it's like a Korean steakhouse called Jeju. Yeah.
How's that been? It's fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's fun. The whole animal is definitely challenging. I personally, and like through our social media or whatever, haven't done a very good job of what we're doing there and how special like running a whole animal program is these days. It's labor intensive. It's super complicated. And like, how do we like rotate this thing out? Thankfully, we have these dry agers. I got to shout out dry ager, but I bought
They're
these
great.
like four. Yeah, I bought 4 of them over the last few years. I was like saving up and I would buy one and then I would save up and buy another. And by the time we opened Jeju, we ended up having 3. I bought a 4th. And so now like all of the meat kind of goes and cycles through there. We do, we even like dry age the pork. We have some fish hanging too. And so, yeah, it's been a huge learning curve. And we've had really, good people help throughout the way. We just hired a new butcher. He's doing a really great job. But it's challenging. And I hope we can tell a better version of the story of it. Like we have a signature burger right now. It's called the Bao Burger. And I think it's really cool that we have like a single origin like burger blend. Like we get half the cow, break it down, and then take all the trim from that half and grind it for our burger meat. There's not a lot of places that you can get your burger blend from like one animal.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I think that's really special and trying to do what we can to, operate in some form of sustainability. But yeah.
How do you divide your time between the both restaurants?
I do a little of both. So like, I'll drop off kids and then I'll stop at one, kind of spend the morning there, and then I'll come to the other to do service, and then I'll vice versa the next day. But I've been spending a little more time here at Hanok. We have had some staffing changes and stuff, and we want to change the menu a bit. But yeah, I mean, right now, man, this past year has been really, really heavy for the family. Just like spending a lot of time with my mom is like right now the priority. Son had some stuff happen earlier this year too with her dad, and yeah, heavy time, but trying to make the best of it.
Yeah. So what is your thought on social media versus real life? Because we definitely see these two worlds happening, right? You always see the beauty. Everything's perfect in the restaurants on the social media world. But real life is we're all still plunging toilets and cleaning fucking grease traps.
Oh, sorry, 1 second.
No worries.
Thank you. Yeah, social media. Shoot. Yeah, I think there is a trend of showing a lot more like behind the scenes. That's been gaining traction, which I really love. I think showing the reality of what we do, which is like not the glamorous stuff. I think like a lot of people just like kind of the Instagram life is like you just post all the perfect, most perfect everything. So I feel like it's changing a little bit. We personally don't use enough of it to promote what we're doing. So that's why I was saying like we need to do a better job telling our story, but like telling it from the real perspective, like not trying to make it perfect and pretty before we post it. So I'm inspired to see more of that gaining traction. The more behind the scenes stuff, the more raw, but yeah, I mean, there's tremendous value in having a big platform. I think the ones that, make a ton of money for doing a post. I don't know. I don't love that. In the food world, it's more of that where I want to see more people showing how the sausage is made.
What has been your worst professional mistake?
Boy, I think the expansion was not great in hindsight. I think had we just kind of doubled down and focused on getting Hanok back up and running after COVID and not overextending ourselves with the new projects was a huge mistake. But I think it's hard to say like what's a huge mistake because I feel like everything is a learning. So we learned a lot from that. I think it was good for us as sort of our path as restaurant owners to have gone through that experience because I think that's just makes us better down the road. But the other thing is like my biggest mistakes are the things that I don't even attempt. I feel like I'm an ideas guy. So I have a lot of like ideas for things that I want to do. And often I don't have the bandwidth to do it or the team to get through a push to launch it. The thing that you don't do is like, the biggest mistake. I feel like I missed out on timing on stuff from just not doing it.
Do you have any regrets? And if you do, would you change something in the past to make it different now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do now regret having done 2 other restaurants. By the time we had the third, it was a lot, man. We were like investing a lot of money into, building up to be able to do those 2 other restaurants. And Jeju opening at the beginning of the Jeju opening, it was like business was starting to go down. Toki was really hard to manage from afar. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have done it. But obviously I sit here now having learned a lot from it, having gained a lot of also good people along the way too. But yeah, expansion too early, too much at the wrong time.
Yeah, sometimes it seems like the opportunity is great, but yeah,
No, it's never.
it's hard. Do you have a best meal?
Best meal.
And it can be anything. And I think when I ask this question, I think there's always that people always assume it's a restaurant meal. Like a best meal to me is that meal that means something to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a restaurant. It can be and I think that there's that disconnect all the time when I ask that. I think it's really, a best meal can be magic anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like so bad at remembering like stuff. Like I'm not like these people that have like a Rolodex of all the things that they ate can like recall. I'm the worst. I would have to like take a picture and write it down. But I would say my best meal is a series of meals I had. So when I first moved here, I was friends with Naomi Pomeroy, and she had an opportunity to go to Japan for like a cooking trip. And at the time, she had a small staff, and she was like, "Can you come? I can't like bring all these people from the restaurant because then the restaurant." Anyway, so she had me join this trip to Japan, and we did this cooking event. But on that trip, we went through Tokyo and had like for 3 days I had like the best meal I've ever had, like consecutively. And by the third meal, I was like, "This is like, who am I? Like, I call myself a chef. Like, I don't fucking know anything." Like one of the tempura places was this old man, probably in his like 80s, and he just sits in front of this like massive copper bowl, like frying like one piece of tempura at a time. But his like neck is like permanently like this. He can't move.
From watching that tempura.
That's how he cooks the tempura, because he's like standing in front of this bowl. He like can't move his neck.
Yep.
And it's just like you see that and you go, I'm a like, how can I call myself
sitting at a counter?
Yeah, it was like a counter. Yeah, it was like a 12-seat counter too. And you're just like, when you see that stuff in Japan, you're like, holy hell, how do they make any money out of this place?
Isn't it amazing? They sell their oil. They use their oil one night, and then they sell it to other tempura places who want to buy their oil. They use fresh oil, and then other places buy their used oil.
Yeah.
Because it's a blend.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's crazy, right? Like, that's
but so
amazing.
like my best meals would be like the series of meals I had there. But then really what was biggest thing was I added a trip to Korea in between that and coming back.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, I saw Korean food from a different perspective. And when I had the meals I had in Korea after those meals, I was like, I felt like a total fraud. I'd need to go back to get back to training and learning more. And then I went to Korea and I was like, oh, I connect with this. This is like the type of food that I can recreate or do back home. So I would say those series of meals really is like the best, like most impactful meals I've ever had.
That's amazing. Is there anything you won't eat?
Yeah, although like
Oh, I don't like balut. We're on the same page.
no, I've never had it, but like
It's
all the
gnarly.
kind of what's that show that Joe Rogan had where they just like eat like bulls' penises and shit like that?
Oh, that's nasty.
I
Nobody
don't know
needs
that
to eat that.
that stuff.
No, no. If you could sit and have dinner with anyone, gone or with us, who would it be?
Oh boy, Obama.
Nice.
Obama. Actually, I would love to sit at that meal that Tony and Barack Obama had. A great table to sit at.
For sure. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Your biggest culinary flop, the dish that you thought was delicious, but it bombed on the menu.
Got so many, countless.
I know. We all do.
Again, I have such a bad memory of like the things that I've done. A lot of people have to remind me. We did like catering events where I thought like we did a sweet and oh my God. We did this catering event at this like old busted up Chinese restaurant, and I thought it would be fun to have like a big thing of like fried pork and then a sweet and sour sauce fountain. But like I put it together wrong, I think. And so it just like burbled and like flowed off crazy. And then we're like, shit, it needs to be like thicker. Let's like, put a slurry in it and make it thicker. And then it's like too thick, and it was like the biggest fucking shit show of like a sweet and sour sauce fountain.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That's a pretty huge flaw.
It could have, that's amazing.
I mean, it took us an hour, but we got there, like eventually it flowed, but like we had to like undo it and put it the right way.
If all else fails, read the instructions on your chocolate, AKA sweet and sour fountain.
Dude, no instructions.
Next up, a gravy fountain with fried chicken.
Yeah, totally.
What is your favorite cookbook?
The St. John cookbooks, the River Cafe cookbooks. So when I first started working at the Spotted Pig, about a year in, I was like, there's like cooks there that were like, oh yeah, you should go do a stage. I was like, what's a stage? I'm like, so I go, April, can I go do a stage somewhere? And she's like, you want to go do a stage? I think she was like, oh, is this guy going to go get another job somewhere else? So she's like, let me set you up a stage. I'm going to set you up in London at St. John and at the River Cafe where she used to work. And so like she sent me to London for like 5 days, and I did a series of stages there. And I brought back those books, the St. John cookbook and the 3 River Cafe cookbooks. And what was cool about
yellow,
those,
blue, and green.
Yellow, blue, and green, yeah, it's just like sitting on the bookshelf there.
They're right there.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously the St. John cookbooks are so great because it's all full of all the Fergusisms, and how he writes his recipes are so amazing. But what I loved about it is they had those books at the restaurant and they were cooking out of them.
Yeah.
So like during my stage, they'd be like, oh, go to, recipe XYZ and here you go. Like, so I like wanted to steal those kitchen copies so bad, all tattered up, all busted, but it was like the same books. But yeah, those are my favorite.
What's your must-have kitchen tool?
Must-have kitchen tool. I do like plating with chopsticks. I have these like plating chopsticks, really pointy end. I often gift them to cooks because any cook that comes in with tweezers, I'm like, you need to learn how to use a chopstick. It's a better tool. It's a far superior tool.
What makes you happy as a chef?
Ugh. Mostly when my kids eat and they're happy with what I make them.
Isn't that the most fucked up thing? That
God.
Our kids don't ever want to eat what we make?
The curse of a chef's kid is like, Elliot just like didn't like my cooking.
Part of it is,
although he does now.
It's not that they don't like our cooking.
Yeah.
And I've learned this. And also, they know
your
that
kid was picky.
Oh my! No, he wasn't. And then he used it against me. They use it against you when they realize that it's important to you.
Yeah.
And they know it can hurt you if you don't.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is cold. All right, hold on. At what age did they start using it as a weapon? Because like 8 and 10, like they're still, they know that like if they say it's delicious, that I'm gonna like die inside.
Well, the moment that it just happens, I don't know when. Like,
around 12. I got two good years.
It becomes a situation where it's like you put something down and they're like, this is awful. Or they resent because and maybe it's just me and how much I worked and what I did, but like,
Yeah.
there's definitely that your focus is on food, right? So, there was that, it's not that I would force him to eat things, but I would work all the time. So there was
Yeah.
definitely this, but there are things that he asks for that are just like, he's like, can I have the tuna heart pasta? To this day, he still asks for it.
Nice. I like
But
that.
there were moments when I would cook dinner and he would just be angry and like, and
Yeah.
maybe it was the world was going on, but he would lash at me by saying things weren't good.
Oof,
That
crushing.
hurts. It's crushing
That
because all you
hurts.
want to do is cook for your family and make them happy. So it's not always and plus there's also kids at their school that don't understand what they're eating.
Yeah.
So if they talk about weird stuff, like, not that it's weird, but it's just
Yeah.
different from what they eat. For years, we got our kid not to eat fast food. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
that switches, right? And then
Yeah.
the kids, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm far from a perfect parent, but that's what I
Yeah.
noticed when I went through it all. It was a way
Yeah.
to poke the bear when they say they
Yeah.
don't like it.
Heartbreaking.
Welcome it. Don't let them win. I would get honestly, I would get really upset. It really bothered me, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, because I'm like, I grew up like, clean plate club, and they just like
Oh, yeah.
leave half a dish. I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? You gotta eat that.
My mom, yeah, it's like, and if you didn't like it, too bad. You lump it. It's what you
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Espresso or drip?
Drip.
Milk or no milk?
No milk.
Pancakes, waffles?
Waffles.
Oatmeal, yogurt?
Neither.
Bacon, sausage?
Bacon.
Chicken, duck?
As I get older, I find myself steering more towards like fried chicken breast. Is that weird?
No, I mean, it's
I don't know. Everybody's like dark meat only if you're not a professional eater unless you're like dark meat. But I'm like chicken breast. If it's done perfectly, it's like really good.
It's really
Chicken.
good. Beef or pork?
Beef.
Quail or squab?
Quail.
Hot dog, hamburger?
Burger.
Ketchup, mustard?
A little more mustard.
Whole grain or Dijon?
Whole grain.
French fries, onion rings?
Fries.
Taco, burrito?
Tacos.
Pasta or noodles?
Noodles, man. Noodles.
Ravioli or dumplings?
Dumplings, of course.
Raw oysters, raw clams?
Oysters.
Lobster or crab?
Crab.
What type of crab?
Dungeness.
Sea urchin, caviar?
Caviar.
Black truffle, white truffle?
I guess it depends. White truffle?
Meatballs or sausage?
Sausage.
Favorite pizza style?
I flip-flop. I do, a Neapolitan is the gold standard.
Dessert or cheese course?
I'm dairy tolerant, so I would say meaning I'm intolerant. Meaning meaning I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
But your body won't like it.
But my body won't like it. I gotta stay near a bathroom. So neither.
Okay. Red wine, white wine, light beer, dark beer.
Light beer.
Kirkland
The lightest.
Kirkland signature, right?
Kirkland signature light beer is the one.
White spirits or dark spirits?
Dark spirits.
Champagne, Prosecco, Cava, or Lambrusco?
Champagne.
So you can't do the ice cream, but if you could, ice cream, soft serve, gelato, or sorbet?
Gelato. A good gelato is so good.
Cup or a cone?
Cup or a cone? Well, I love a cone. I love a cone.
Sugar cone or styrofoam cone?
Okay, so the best thing in a styrofoam cone is the very bottom where they have like the thing and you smush all your ice cream in there and then you like take that last bite. That's the best. But I choose a sugar cone usually.
Chocolate or fruit?
Fruit.
Honey or maple syrup?
Honey.
What's your favorite candy?
Dude, what? There's too many. Sour gummy Coke bottles. That's a good one. Mambas are good. There's There's one where there's like a jelly, but it's like covered in chocolate. That's good. That's like a gummy. More the gummy candies are my favorite.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Fast food, man. Although I'm not super guilty. I don't feel guilty about it, but I do love fast food.
What would be your last meal?
Really funky kimchi jjigae, like good fermented kimchi jjigae.
That's amazing.
And white rice.
And white rice. So, folks, when you go to Portland, and if you haven't, you should, you need to go visit Peter. You need to go to Hanok. You need to go to Jeju. It's a really, really special restaurant with a really amazing family that runs them. If they want to find you guys on social media, what is that?
It's Hanok PDX, Janoak PDX. We have Jeju PDX, and then I have my personal Pete Cho.
There you have it, folks. Make sure you go to Portland. You go visit them. I'm telling you, it's so much fun. The food's delicious, and I just
Look at
can't
this
say
beautiful
enough.
courtyard. Don't you want to eat here?
Where are all the kids' toys? I see the easel in the back, the crayon easel.
Well, no, it's the
Is that the
it's
menu board?
It's the Costco dart board. It's like the throwing axe. It's the best $50 I spent. I bought that at Costco. Dude, it's the best.
All's fun and games till somebody walks in front of it.
Yeah, no, totally. I know it's bounced off and like hit a table for sure. But
Oh my God. You
people love
are
it.
crazy. Peter, thanks so much for taking time. I know things are really hectic right now and a little crazy, but I appreciate it.
It was so good to chat with you, catch up with you.
For
We'll
sure.
see you soon.
For sure. Thanks for listening to How the Sausage is Made. If you've liked what you've heard today, please make sure to like and subscribe. And don't be afraid to tell your friends about it.